Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this legal webinar run by Kaizen Synergy Law Firm. Our law firm is based here at La Trobe Law School in Victoria, where we run the Governance, Risk, Legal Compliance and Policy Centre. I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar. These webinars are open webinars for all NDIS providers to attend. And the resources that come out of these webinars, whether it be a recording of this session, as well as the PowerPoint slides, and also any policy or other documents, are released onto the compliance hub in order to allow this to be circulated and used as a resource across a number of providers as you see fit. That being said, just before I jump in to the session, we will just show you where the materials are actually based. Here they are here. This is just on our Kaizen Synergy website. You can actually see that we've got the NDIS Legal Compliance Risk and Quality Hub page. And this is actually here for all NDIS providers to access. The materials that we have produced here actually come from our site at La Trobe Law School, where, as I mentioned, we run the Risk Policy Legal Compliance Centre. And within here at this hub, you can see previous webinars. You can make times to meet with us to discuss any NDIS legal questions or corporate questions that your agency might have, as well as access other information too and past webinar details. So all of these resources are actually made available for NDIS providers to access directly from our site here under the NDIS Legal Compliance Risk and Quality Hub for you to access. Just moving back to the webinar page. With today's session, we are going to be looking at incident reporting. And as part of this, we're going to look at a policy scope, what reportable incidents are, identifying the types of incidents and reporting an incidents, and more than happy to stay online and answer any questions that you might have. Within this scope of works that we do, more than happy for you to ask questions as we go along. But within this scope of works that we do here here at our law firm, we get asked by a range of providers specifically about specific incidents and NDIS issues that they have. With it, the part that we will refer to that we see a lot of questions in this space is really around the incident reporting side. Now, you will also get access to the demo version of our Gemba 360 dashboard, and this is a resource that you can use. It's the demo version. It basically gives you all the tools to meet all of the NDIS standards that your agency needs to follow. It has, for example, if you go into here, sample NDIS policies basically across every single core standard that agencies can use. But importantly today, what we are going to look at is the incident reporting side. And the incident reporting side, and you can see this here, this is used by providers, is really about capturing the information in order to provide safe and effective care to your participants, but also importantly to manage your HR and staffing issues that you might have as well too. So we encourage you to actually log in and have a look at this dashboard. It is widely used by NDIS providers right around the country, and more than happy to stay online afterwards and answer any questions that you might have. As I said, you will get access to the demo version of that dashboard. So let's have a look at the incident reporting and what it means for yourselves as NDIS providers. Well, essentially, by introduction, at the heart of quality disability support is safety, accountability, and care. We see this from the NDIS standards. What we find is that this presentation introduces our incident management policy and also ensures that all incidents involving participants are responded to promptly, reported accurately, and managed effectively. What we need to look at is the NDIS incident management and reportable incident rules, and also look at the compliance standards that your agency needs to meet. Now, we do have a sample policy, which I will publish as well too, but the idea of this policy is to ensure that you provide safe, effective care to your participants. One of the things that we often see around the reporting of incidents is what is the key terms and definitions of a reportable incident. So, what is a reportable incident? Well, an incident is defined as an act, omission, event, or circumstance. Reportable incidents are serious incidents or alleged incidents which result in harm to an NDIS participant and occur in connection with NDIS supports and services. Now, what is important for yourselves as NDIS providers is that for an incident to become a reportable incident, it must satisfy the following two requirements. First, the incident must be defined as a reportable incident under Section 73Z of the
Denise,
Act.
give me COVID.
And also
No.
section, and I will just ensure that people are muted here, and ensure that people are covered off as well too. There we go. And within this part, the incidents must have occurred or allegedly to have occurred in connection with the provision of supports or services that you are providing. So within this is the definitions of what you need to see. Now, there are specific types of reportable incidents. Now, this includes death of a person with a disability, serious injury, abuse or neglect of a person with a disability, unlawful sexual or physical contact, sexual misconduct, or the use of a restrictive practice in relation to a person with a disability. Now, this is sort of the common issues that we still see with NDIS providers when they approach our law firm about what these issues are and what to actually report on. So essentially, we're looking at what are the categories, and I'll show you how this works in an incident report form. But first, let's have a look at what definitions of reportable incidents there are. After we've done that, we then have to have a look at identifying the types of incidents that you need to see as well too. Now, when we look at this, there are types of incidents that can be classified in various ways. Some incidents are obvious, like those witnessed firsthand. Others, such as abuse or neglect, can be harder to spot, which is why awareness and vigilance is so important. And it's this section here that NDIS providers approach our law firm on. And sometimes they'll just ask us questions on, look, this is the situation. We've had a issue with a participant or some other provider has reported something to us or a support worker has made these comments. Is this considered to be a type of incident that we should be reporting? So again, I do actually encourage you, if you do have those types of questions, by all means, what I do suggest you do is, again, you can use our hub here, and simply engage with us to ask us questions. And this is a support that we provide for all NDIS providers as part of that engagement. And it gives you a resource that you can simply access as part of that. And as I mentioned, we are based here at La Trobe Law School. So it is a resource that is open for yourselves as NDIS providers to use as part of our hub service to the broader sector. Now, there are different types of incident types. Essentially, we've got physical abuse, and I'll just flick through these and I'll come back to them individually. We've got physical abuse, we've got sexual abuse, psychological abuse, domestic violence, neglect, financial abuse, and also there are some that cut across all of these areas. Now, on this, what we find across this when we look at things like physical abuse, we are looking at physical signs and indicators. inconsistent, vague, or unexpected or unlikely explanations for an injury, whether it be broken bones, fractures, sprains, other bruising marks, etc. We have providers that call us and ask us questions on, well, if someone has a seizure, what are we looking at here? And we're going, well, just classify it as, is it actual physical abuse or were there other medical issues that actually arose that came to this? We still suggest that providers do record incidents down, but it may not be reportable simply because it doesn't fit into one of these areas. We've had situations also where NDIS providers have had to were going to report sexual abuse because we've had significant situations where a participant actually claimed that a provider actually got them to watch explicit material. And again, it's important to actually look at what types of incidents these are and then look at what is the review process of the incidents itself. And I'll show you how this fits into a specific form. Why I raised this particular issue, we had a provider that called us and said one of their participants reported that a support worker got them to watch explicit material, and it was considered sexual abuse. After they investigated it, what they did find was that it was actually the imaginary friend of the participant that had informed the participant to actually watch the material. So there was, and it was a case of actually reviewing the health information and also case notes on this. So that was a really unusual situation that we were asked to provide advice on. The other part of this is around psychological abuse, and there are behavioral indicators and physical signs that you need to look out for. Domestic violence, which covers behavioral indicators and physical signs such as depression, withdrawal, crying, and emotional behavior, and also other areas like neglect and financial abuse. Now, and I'll send copies of all of these slides out to all attendees today. So the next part that we tend to be asked about is how to report an incident. Well, when we look at incident reporting requirements for yourselves as providers, essentially reporting is done through the disability provider's own incident management system. And this is a requirement of the NDIS scheme. Now, there are sections around process of reporting an incident. This means that workers providing services identifies the incident, provides an immediate response. You look at the incident management process as well too. And as part of that too, then also look at the incident and how it's assessed and also relevant personnel determine if the report is actually a reportable incident. Now, when you go through this process itself, it can be quite confusing about what to actually do. So what we have come up with is a flow chart for yourselves to use to look at what happened, what is the initial response, do you report not only to the NDIS, but do you need to involve the ACNC if you're a charitable organization, child safe, police, work cover if it involves staff, and then go through and look at, is it a reportable incident? Does criteria to be met? And what does that mean in terms of looking at the types of incidents, assessment, and closing an incident off? Now, when we look at this directly, what we then come back to, and I'll just open up our dashboard. Here we go here. And what you can see here is this is our Gemba dashboard that a lot of providers use. I'll just bring this up. Here we go. And what you'll find, you might have your own type of incident reporting, but you can log in and have a look at this as part of the demo site itself. And so if we go into one of these, and I'll just pick out one previous incident report. What we have here is identifying who it was reported by, what the date and the initial time of the report was, what the issue actually raised, whether it was high, medium, or low, and whether it involved general medication or staff. Is it a behavior of concern? And then we look at what happened. So when we ask from a legal side, when we provide advice to providers on this, first thing we ask is, well, what happened? What was the information that you needed to see in order for this to actually be considered an incident and undertake some investigation? We then look at the date and the time that that occurred. Who was the participant details? Was there any injuries? And if there was, you can add information directly onto this as well too. Whether there was any other people involved, whether first aid was there, and what was the details of what went on. Now, there wasn't any medication in this, so this way we skipped over that part. What we then looked at as part of this process was the incident analysis and conclusion. And essentially, what we then came to was, and this is the part that a lot of providers miss. So, while they might report on the incidents, it's also from an NDIS side of compliance reporting. Well, what did you do to actually address this? So, what we've come up with quite simply is an action plan. And the action plan is to look at what are the administrative steps that you've taken to actually minimize this specific incident? And also, what have you done to ensure that this doesn't happen again? And so there are a list of few tasks that you can place in here, and then reminders actually get sent out to key staff to make sure that they are actually actioning this. And if they don't do it, the system will dob on them to you to make sure that it's actually followed up. Once that's done, we can then look at what is the report to the NDIS. Is it reportable, yes or no? Were there specific issues that we had? And then we can mark it as completed and we are done from there. So very simply, you can take the sheet that will, the workflow plan that we put in the webinar. If I just bring that back, here we are, here. And following this workflow allows you to then manage this on the online system. And we're just using our Gemba 360 dashboard to show you how this works, and yourselves will have access to have a look at that today. Essentially, what is important in this is working through this in, I'll call it a administrative legal compliance manner. So asking the questions, what happened? What was the initial response? Did you need to report to authorities or emergency services? Is it reportable? What have you done to action this? What, in terms of the types of incidents, did this arise? And what is your assessment and conclusion on this? And it is these types of processes that, if you follow, it minimizes your legal compliance obligations altogether. And it actually simplifies the process from an NDIS incident reporting side for you as well too. I'm happy to, this is the areas that we wanted to cover off today as part of the incident management session. I'm more than happy to stay online and answer any questions that you might have. But if you are wanting to catch up with us afterwards, by all means, either email us. My mobile number is here. You can contact us directly at La Trobe Law School, or equally, you can also chat to us online at the at our risk legal compliance risk and quality hub for NDIS providers, and have a chat line directly here where we can actually even set up one-on-one meetings with you to discuss specific issues that you might have. With that said, we will be running our next session in a couple of weeks' time. This legal session will extend the incident reporting requirements for NDIS providers, where we will be looking at analysing the incident reports and what to do in terms of mitigating these and informing these back to staff. Happy to stay online and answer any questions that people might have. You can either chat to us directly here, or if you wanted to be unmuted, you can just unmute yourselves and raise any questions if you like. Looks like I might have got off fairly easy today. If there are any questions, we will be circulating all of this material to you before close off business today. And you can certainly reach out to us directly by email, or as I said, visit our hub at the Kaizen Synergy portal and or website, and visit simply the NDIS Legal Compliance and Quality Hub, where all of these resources are available. We will be publishing this online webinar here today too, where you will get access to all the materials, including the slides as well. Looks like I have got off fairly easily today. Thank you all for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. Bye for now.